Welcome to StopFake, the place where we set the record straight on disinformation about Ukraine. I'm Paul Niland with StopFake's latest dissection of Russian alternate reality. Our stories this week: the Donetsk People's Republic opens offices in France, Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline will make Ukraine's gas transit system obsolete, Ukrainians travel to the separatist-occupied Donbass for medical care, and how many times exactly has Ukraine's most popular rock band Okean Elzy actually performed in Russia in the last few years? So let's get to it. The self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, or DPR, continues to boast that it is opening more and more official representations in European countries. Its latest office is in France. Ukraina.ru reports that a DPR representative centre was registered in the Marseille prefecture on June 17th. The centre is to be headed by former Provence regional advisor Gerald Hubert Fayard, who announced in a Facebook post that the centre will officially open on September the 1st. Posting on the office's Facebook page, Fayard declares, "We want the DPR's voice to be heard in France." France, however, does not appear too eager to hear that voice. According to the French embassy in Ukraine, France does not and will not recognise any so-called DPR representative offices. The French embassy told StopFake, France remains committed to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. President Macron emphasised this during his meeting with Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. France's position remains unchanged on this issue. According to the embassy, the so-called representation is really a private association, as registration of public organisations is a simple and undemanding procedure in France. The legality of the registration is being looked into nevertheless, the embassy said, because it contradicts the official position of France. Last year, the DPR announced the opening of a similar office in Turin, Italy. The office, however, has no legal standing. Another such office was opened in the Czech Republic and was officially closed last month by a court decision. Big, empty and unnecessary. That's the grim future that Russian site Ukraina.ru predicts for Ukraine's gas transit system once the Nord Stream 2 pipeline is built. While Russian media is eager to bury Ukraine's vast gas transit system, Kiev is busy modernizing the pipeline, signing contracts on long-term transit cooperation and restructuring the company that oversees the network. Ukraina.ru is not the only Russian propaganda outfit eager for the demise of Ukraine's gas transit structure. Moskovsky Komsomolets also jumped into the fray, calling Ukraine's network outdated, a heap of metal junk, and needed by no one. Nord Stream 2, meanwhile, is a project free of politics, an economic win, and a project for the future. Nord Stream 2, a pipeline intended to transport Russian gas to Germany bypassing Ukraine via the Baltic Sea, was never a purely commercial project, if only because Gazprom, its parent company, is majority owned by the Russian government. As Dr. Alan Riley from the Institute of Statecraft in London compellingly argues in a recent article, Nord Stream 2 is a political project intended to remove Ukraine from the European gas equation and choke Europe's attempts at energy diversification. Ukraine is anticipating a significant reduction in the transit of Russian gas through its pipelines and preparing accordingly. Its recently developed energy strategy calls for deep reforms in the energy sector, as well as administrative restructuring of companies that oversee it. Its pipelines are being updated and reconstructed. New pipelines are being added, linking the existing system to potential new gas routes. Ukraine has not been importing Russian gas for nearly 2 years and has successfully provided heat to consumers through 2 harsh winters. It has increased its own gas production and modernized its infrastructure in a pointed drive to increase energy efficiency. The country has the largest gas storage capacity in Europe, and its transit network continues to provide nearly 20% of Russian gas consumed by Europeans. Russian gas transit through Ukraine hit a 5-year high this year, making Russian media predictions of the death of Ukraine's gas transit system, in the words of Mark Twain, highly exaggerated. Russia's propaganda organ RT is disseminating a report claiming that Ukrainians are travelling to the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic for free medical treatment. The report claims that it is difficult to obtain medical care in the rest of Ukraine, particularly free care, which is readily available in separatist-controlled territories. RT's 3-minute story opens with an unnamed doctor from Donetsk talking about the launch of a humanitarian medical aid program aimed at reuniting the people of Donbass. 2 patients with blotted-out faces attest that they came to the occupied territories for treatment because in government-controlled territories of Ukraine, you will not be helped, not even if you are dying on the spot. The myth of free medical care in the self-proclaimed republics has been debunked more than once. Social media is rife with local residents complaining about the high costs of care and medicines and having to actually pay for care. Some have seen the RT broadcast and avow that reality is nothing like this fake story. Local residents point out that bribes, high cost of drugs, and a perpetual lack of qualified physicians are daily problems facing patients. Wounded separatists do not get needed medical care, resulting in a very high fatality rate in Donbass. Russian fakes about Ukraine not only focus on Ukrainian politics, but also on its culture and pop stars. Last week, Russia's first channel program Vrimi Pokazhet announced that many Ukrainian pop stars were giving concerts in Russia, with the popular Ukrainian rock band Okeanelzy leading, having performed in Russia 35 times in 2016 and 2017. Responding to this patently fake claim, Okeanelzy frontman Svatoslav Vakarchuk tweeted that his band has not performed in Russia since 2013. Artists who have continued to perform in Russia have been subject to criticism in Ukraine as the Russian-Ukrainian war-scarred public finds it unacceptable to perform in Russia in the face of that country's annexation of Crimea and its invasion of eastern Ukraine. That's it for this week. Be vigilant, beware of fakes. If you spot any disinformation about Ukraine, send it to us for a truth autopsy. Remember to stay healthy, don't consume fake news, your brain will thank you, and the psychological climate of society will not suffer a precipitous decline. I'm Paul Niland, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.